Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to many of us. Welcome to CEO Talk, a series conducted by CXOTV, where a CEO narrates a story and share the learning and success of building a great brand. So today, our guest is Kishan Karunakaran, founder and CEO of Biofuel. A biofuel is basically an online B2B marketplace for trading all type of biofuel-based commodities and organic waste, connecting raw material aggregators, biofuel manufacturers, fuel consumers, and waste generator. Welcome, Kishan.
Thanks.
Kishan, the data shows that biofuel is a 110 billion market globally, with the Indian biofuel market being about 10 billion currently. And this is growing rapidly, and India biofuel market is likely to be 50 billion market over the next few years. So the idea of biofuel came after 2019, which is, after the import restriction from the DGFT, or, you just started out of the passion, highly inspired by Kalam vision for renewable energy, over to you.
Yeah, listen, I've been in the biofuel space for 14 to 15 years now. So long back, started my journey in biofuel, setting up the first biodiesel unit of the state called Tamil Nadu in India, which was also among the third or fourth commercial scale biodiesel manufacturing unit in India, not in all of India. So that was, inspired by Dr. Kalam's vision for renewable fuel. He was a big advocate of this crop called Jetrofa-based biofuel. I think that's how we also started. So being in that journey, in that space since 14, 15 years, I'm among the earliest players in the sector, went to the highs and the lows of the sector, because when crude crashed in 2014, there was no getting back to biofuel manufacturing because, crude has crashed down to $28 a barrel. And that's when, we had to shut down our factory also. And then, I think we felt, rather than getting emotionally connected with, the truth was oil was not going back to $80 a barrel for a while, which was true till 2021, which never hit it. It didn't hit that for 7 years after that. So, but again, I think the next part was what you said, when India banned imports of biofuels and also banned imports of raw materials for biofuel manufacturing. Because by that time, I was into supplying imported biodiesel, supplying, various feedstock from Malaysia and Indonesia, Southeast Asia to biodiesel manufacturers in India. And also, palm kernel shell for cricket manufacturers in India and all that. So when that happened, we thought, no, it was actually a good sign. That's when the government of India gave a clear policy of which direction it wanted biofuels to go. It wanted India to manufacture its own biofuels and wanted to manufacture it from the wastes that are generated within the country, which is the right vision to have. So then the question was, we want to get back in biofuel manufacturing, or having been a player across as a stakeholder, as a multiple stakeholder in that sector, plug the gaps and solve for others in that sector. Ensure more waste go to biofuel manufacturing. Ensure more biofuels go to fuel consumers. And ensure fuel consumers are easily able to switch from fossil fuels to biofuels. So that's how this entire, that's how, the idea, the concept of biofuel started off. And then I was lucky to meet very interesting co-founders who shared the vision for sustainability, who also felt that the next generation should have a greener earth. And so, and they were from the tech background. So that's where I was lacking. So in an online tech platform, technology plays a very important role. And so then we started together, building this platform. And that is where we are now.
So you chose to be an aggregator instead of being a manufacturer. That's what I decided from the conversation. And I guess you started in 2020, correct?
Yes, Buyofuel was started.
Okay. So I understand that, the the three main pillars of your business are the source, which is basically the waste generator, the biofuel manufacturer, and the fuel consumer. And I broadly divide your consumer into two broad parts, which is the commercial and the the end users. While it is clear that the source or the waste generator is the largest beneficiary in this ecosystem. But I'm Kishan, little curious about your plan to enter the consumer space and your drive on the adoption of the biofuel among the fuel consumers. This is particularly important because many consumers still have the reservation about the adoption of the biofuel or the alternative fuel due to the concerns that might impact on their vital performance. So, how do you intend to address these concerns and encourage the consumers to embrace biofuel?
First, just kind of just putting it in perspective, we are primarily only a B2B marketplace.
Okay.
So we're not B2C as such. We don't reach the individual consumers. We do reach business consumers. So that's where we are in. And second, we are into all types of place. Core biofuels that replace industrial liquid fuels, biofuels that replace diesel, and bioethanol that replaces petrol, and bio-CNG that replaces CNG. So we're into the entire spectrum of biofuels. So, if I understand correctly, your question is more addressing as to how do you convince, a large business consumer of diesel or any other liquid fuel to switch towards a biodiesel or
Absolutely. I wish to understand all the, how you've been convincing all these three pillars of your business, all the three tenants, whether it's the manufacturers, because by and large, what I understand is like, when it comes to the source, which is the largest beneficiary, I mean, this is a more of an unstructured kind of a community. But if you look at the remaining two, I think that's a more structured one. So how you bring that collaboration between a structured and unstructured to your platform, and how technology really helps you in doing that? Is it that are you doing some kind of a rating system where you rate a different set of the source providers? So just a bit of the elaboration around that.
Sure. So, firstly, I think we predominantly function as a curated marketplace. So the entire transaction happens through platform, not only discovery. So that's one aspect. So the way so again, we've been able to address that very effectively because, as I said, I've been a biofuel manufacturer myself. I've been a waste seller myself. And during my biofuel manufacturing unit, I've been an energy consumer also. So I could understand, first-hand problem for each of this. And having been in this space for 15 years, I'm at the top 1-2% of people who've been in biofuels in India. I think I could understand that pain point very well. In addition to that, our leadership team has close to 70 to 75 years on cumulatively of biofuels and waste, which is significant considering it's a very nascent space. Now, so the way seller's problems are to be, because that's not his main line of business, but he wants decent economic benefit out of it. He wants regular sale out of it. So far, he's been depending upon aggregators and traders. There's a lot of middlemen, and so he doesn't get a lot of benefit of the pricing. So what we do is we kind of decrease the middleman significantly, and hence ensure the actual waste seller gets a better price. Now, whether it be a farmer, whether it be an FPO, whether it be an agro-processing industry, they get a better price. So that's the value add for the waste seller. Now, the biofuel manufacturer. Again, the biofuel manufacturer, the liquid biofuel manufacturers, and I wouldn't say all of them, but many of them are organized. But solid biofuel manufacturers are predominantly unorganized, right? So, and even the organized liquid biofuel manufacturers, the problem has been to get regular supply of the required quantity and quality of the waste for biofuel. It's not easy because that's not his primary work alone. Because he's into selling the product. The entrepreneur does a lot of things here. And primary work of the biofuel manufacturer is to manufacture biofuel and to ramp up capacity, to do R&D in the biofuel that is manufactured, not run behind supply of materials and sourcing. So the primary challenge for them was, one, get the regular quantity and quality of the waste for biofuel manufacturing, and two, because their size, so fuel consumption is a very high scale. So most large fuel consumers consume significant quantity of fuels. So one biofuel manufacturer doesn't meet the demand. They depend on multiple biofuel manufacturers. So that was restricting each biofuel manufacturer's access to them also, right? And so the same problem was there with the consumer. The consumer, this is just a consumable for them in their manufacturing, not their main line of business. So they don't have a team that is running behind 30, 40 suppliers. They want someone to curate it in terms of quantity and quality. So that's the gap that we solve for the fuel consumer. That's also the gap that we solve for the biofuel manufacturer. And we solve the gap of better price realization and easy uptake of waste for the waste generator.
Absolutely. I think apart from that, you also solve the problem related to the waste management and the fuel emission, the carbon emission. And so can you just elaborate on the type of the biofuel and the feedstock that biofuel facilities trading and procurement for? And how do you ensure that the quality and the sustainability of these biofuel and feedstocks will be taken care of? Yeah.
Right. So what is the, so there are various organic wastes. In fact, like sawdust, rice husk, grounded shell, turmeric spent. Practically any organic biomass can actually be part of the biofuel value chain. Unfortunately, a lot of them still don't find their way into the biofuel value chain. That's another thing that we very actively do. As I said, come with 75 years of experience in that sector, cumulatively, all of us. So we know, what is the factor that's required for a biomass or waste to be part of the biofuel value chain. And we ensure that a lot of waste which are not part of the biofuel value chain find their way into the biofuel value chain, into manufacturing of briquettes or as fuel into boilers, like that. So that's one significant value addition that we do. So there are various types of feedstock. So if you take solid biofuels, sawdust, groundnut shell, turmeric spent, wood chips, cashew shell, turmeric spent, pressed mud, bagasse. A lot of agro-processing industry wastes actually can become feedstock for solid biofuels. And these solid biofuels replace coal, which are very highly emitting, which is a very high emitting fuel. And India has mandated 7 to 10% of that to be replaced with biofuels. So biofuels not only ensure a direct decrease in direct carbon dioxide emissions, but because many of these crops absorb carbon dioxide in their growth, they further help. If you see from a life cycle emissions point of view, biofuels is the best option to move towards net zero. Because the waste for these crops during growth phase also absorb carbon dioxide, and even from a direct emission point of view, they decrease emissions to the fossil fuels. Similarly, for biodiesel, a lot of feedstocks comes into waste of the edible oil value chain. For example, Malaysia and Indonesia play a very important role. The palm oil refining has a lot of waste byproducts. So all of that get into the biofuel value chain for manufacturing biofuels. Similarly, bioethanol, you can see again, 2G bioethanol again depends on low-grade biomass, which is also again, consume significant, absorb a lot of carbon dioxide during their growth phase, and immediately have a direct decrease in emissions also when compared to petrol or other sustainable aviation fuel that they replace, right? So every biofuel not only decreases direct carbon emissions, most of them decrease direct carbon emissions in the range of between 25 to 50%, or sometimes even 60%, but in that range of 25 to 60%, depending upon which type of fuel. And in the growth phase, a lot of these fuels also absorb carbon dioxide. So there's a double decrease of carbon dioxide in terms of biofuels. So that's how we ensure there is sustainability. And we very, very strongly believe biofuels is the most sustainable option, because as you said, it solves the problem of waste management, it solves the problems of emissions, and from a life cycle point of view, it doubles the decrease in emissions.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, Kishan, do you have a plans to get into the consumer space? Because I think, by and large, they could be, the next biggest beneficiary out of the entire ecosystem. In case if you have a plan, do you have that kind of a plan in EMC?
Currently, no. I must be honest. Currently, no. I think for two reasons. One, there is still a lack of clarity on retailing of many of these biofuels, especially biodiesel, bioethanol, and bio-CNG. Still, there's a lack of clarity in terms of retailing it in India. Two, a predominant supply chain of the consumer end is controlled by the large oil marketing companies of India, the IOCL, the BP,
Yeah, absolutely.
all of them. So they're already involved in buying these and blending the biofuels and selling them. So we don't see that as a major market. I think whatever transition happens there will be through the IOCL with the BPCL, at least initially.
Okay. So, Kishan, building a strong network with renewable fuel manufacturer across India, Middle East, and South Asia is a significant aspect of your experience. How do you, see these network contribute to the growth and the success of biofuel? And how do you support your mission of expanding India's biofuel market?
Yeah, so India is a huge biofuel market. I think we are just scratching the surface even now. So, even from a vision point of view, over the next 3 to 4 years or even 5 years, look to go beyond 1% to 2% of India's total biofuel consumption, which by itself will be huge. 1% or 2% of India's total fuel consumption, not biofuel. And we would definitely like to be the strongest player in biofuels in India. So India is a huge market by itself. So our vision, as I said, we expanded from Tamil Nadu alone. We've expanded to multiple states: Karnataka, Maharashtra, Andhra Pradesh, Telangana, Punjab, Delhi. So we've expanded. So geographically, we want to expand to the regions which are high emitting and high energy consuming, and make a difference there by replacing biofuels and helping industries decarbonize. So that's the primary goal. Industrial decarbonization is what primarily we'll be targeting, and we'll be targeting specific sectors which are the large energy consumers and high emitting industries, and helping them replace biofuels in significant quantity. That's as far as India is concerned. Yes, we have very strong plans of expanding globally also. From a supply base, Southeast Asia is a very interesting space that we're looking at. Because Indonesia, Malaysia, again, like India, produce a lot of agrobiomass, a lot of waste in the palm oil value chain. And we want to ensure that those wastes also get effectively consumed in fuel consuming countries in the Europe, right? Because India will be able to produce its own waste for biofuel manufacturing, but Europe doesn't produce all the required biomass and waste by itself. It depends a lot on other markets. So we have very, active plans for certain exports of biofuels and wastes to Europe. So we want to expand our footprint globally. I think we should be doing that in this year.
So, Kishan, you talk about the South Asian market, and is it that you guys really going to be using the same platform of biofuel, or will it going to be a different engine altogether for that market, having a geofencing around that? So, can you elaborate a little bit around that, because this sounds pretty fascinating and interesting.
It's the same platform. Built a very strong technology platform. The idea is to have the same platform across all geographies. But we are looking at Southeast Asia as a market. the market that we're looking at is more towards Europe, and in Southeast Asia is more of a sourcing that we'll be looking at from a source point of view. So even globally, we'll be primarily looking at the same platform because having built a very strong technology platform and being a tried and tested platform in India by large corporates, I think we'll be using pretty much the same platform in the UK.
Okay, and so I think you just covered the next two questions of mine. That was all about the focus and your expansion plan. But don't you think, like, when you look at the European market, I think that's the market which is betting big on the biofuel. So any plans to probably spread around that?
Yes, definitely. I think we're looking at that market very actively. It is a very interesting market. It values renewable fuels and biofuels and decarbonization. So definitely an interesting market to be. But being in India market, you are so accustomed to be such a big market. I think the entire European market would struggle in terms of volume and size that compared to the Indian market. So, so being a startup, we get stuck into the routine in such a large market. So we're trying to slightly, cut that routine and move towards the Europe.
So, Kishan, if I have to set the chronology for you, let me start with the Indian market. So, you want to start with South and then move to West?
No, we've already started. So just
South.
We started in South alone, Tamil Nadu alone in 2020, 21, up to 21, and then 22 we moved towards Karnataka. Now in 23 we are present in Tamil Nadu, Karnataka, Maharashtra, Goa, AP, Telangana, Punjab, Delhi, NCR. We are present in all these states.
Okay, because North is something which definitely require more of more of your presence because of the stubborn burn issue out here. So with this, I think we just come to the end of this episode. Thanks, Kishan, for such an insightful session, and we really had the pleasure interacting.
Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot. That's just an opportunity, and we're glad speaking to you. Nice.
Same here.
I would share my views.
Absolutely.
For more updates from CXO TV, please like and subscribe to our channel.